the farmers are going to get a whole bunch of cash again. It's going to rain cash on farm country, and therefore farmers are going to be hesitant to sell these crops. They're going to wait it out, and that's actually a friendly factor with regard to prices. Does that make any sense to you?
No, it does not. Not in my book, because the way we farm around here, we only have X amount of time to sell our products. It's food. What you waiting now? How long we waiting? 2, 3 weeks? Does anybody know anything about expiration dates in fresh food?
It does. I mean, it's something that could have an impact on basis, for example, where if that extra cash flows into the system and the producer now, does not have to, one might say, puke the bushels into the market. They're going to be a little bit stronger hands.
Now, I want y'all to understand. Puke it into the market. That means throw it at the lowest cost possible to barely break even. Maybe not even do that. Puke it into the system. Just throw it up. Hope somebody buy it. The only reason that we're in this situation is because of Trump's tariffs and the bad policies for exporting. They're not buying our soybeans. We don't have major countries buying big stuff. So now we got to sell it to each other. And it's already overburdened in the market. That's the problem. So now he's using, once again, a bill that needs to be passed saying, oh, hey, they holding up y'all money. We're going to give y'all money. But the Democrats is holding it up. And I'm ready to give y'all billions of dollars. By the way, those are your tax dollars he's giving to you. And he's going to take it from your health care. Subsidize. In other words, you're going to pay more in healthcare. You're not getting nothing for free, farmers. You're not getting nothing for free. That's the deal. I'm going to give you your own tax dollars. I'm going to tax you even more with these pesticides and all the fertilizer and everything. I'm going to tax you even more. But I am choking you out to vote for this bill so you can lose your land in another year. Because everything is going to be too expensive for you. But don't worry. I'll buy it. The 1%ers will buy it. And that's exactly what's been happening over the last few years since COVID. And I told y'all this.
For a very short period of time. So then it kind of boils down to, all right, we have this massive export program. And if the exporter isn't covered yet and is expecting bushels to arrive and they're not being sold, then there's going to have to be some type of a cash market mechanism to incentivize the bushels to leave the producer's hands. And that would probably come from a...
How is it going to leave the producer's hands? Ever. So we're just going to pay them for not being able to ship off their food. Period. Where do you think that food's going to go? You don't sell slop for the same price you sell high quality food. It's going to be slop. Puke it up into the market.
A manner of the basis, but also we might see the spreads tighten up.
Bigger picture, these direct payments disrupt the natural mechanism of the markets.
Absolutely.
Because the markets function in this sort of oversupply situation. The markets function should be to discourage production. And the government is going to go ahead and encourage more production of crops that lose money, that are in oversupply, which it's a kick the can down the road thing is what it is.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Pay attention to what's happening, people. You're not winning. You're getting a bailout again. It's your own money, and it's going to be 10 times as much next year when you go to buy your fertilizer and stuff like that. Tariffs. They're taxing you. That's you that's paying for that. These CEOs are on TV telling you, oh, yeah, the company's going to eat the shares. They're not eating nothing. They're eating your money. Period. MAGA. Trump country farmers.
It is, right. So, we talk about short-term possible implications, but big picture, I mean, this is just a mechanism where the money eventually flows directly through the farmer into the pockets of everybody else that needs to be paid in order for the farmer to stay in business, right?
Correct.
There we go. That's the bottom line. So let me take it from another perspective. From the small farmer, homesteader, people that live around me, my family. You know what I'm saying? Got a couple of people in the family that do this for livelihood. Now, one of the members in the family may have a regular job, but predominantly, in order to save money and put money in the bank, because the person that has the real job is just paying bills. The farming is making up for, we're selling a few cattle, selling a few chickens, selling a few eggs. That's putting money in the bank for their future, for their kids' future, the homesteading. Okay. This is the way it operates on my level.
I worked on regenerative farming practices. So I really feel like I did what I was supposed to do, what I was taught to do. I worked really hard and I served my community and I played by the rules. And then this year we had to make I worked on regenerative farming practices. So I really feel like I did what I was supposed to do, what I was taught to do. I worked really hard and I served my community and I played by the rules. And then this year we had to make the heartbreaking decision to close. We did that in February, and we were one of hundreds of farmers in Arkansas, thousands across the country. And it was this first wave in what has deepened into a true farm crisis, one that could take out as many as 1 in every 3, 1 in every 2 farmers in Arkansas. And in experiencing that, I really felt like you don't have to be a farmer in Arkansas to know what it feels like to work hard and do everything right and still fall behind. And it is not because we have failed. It is because the system is rigged against regular people, against working Arkansans and families. And it's been rigged by politicians like Tom Cotton. And I decided that, if I can't farm, if I can't do the thing that I was supposed to do, that I felt like I was supposed to do, I'm going to run for office. I'm going to fight for small businesses, for farms, for families like mine, and restore some common sense. Go up to DC and give people a dose of reality.
Republicans have worked very hard and been very effective at claiming the banner of rural America and the vote of farmers and sort of the brand of farmers in the same way that they've done with American Pie and the American flag and all that kind of thing. But what I think, even frankly, a lot of Democrats don't know is the difference between, from a governmental perspective, the incentive system for corporate farming versus family farms, and what those policies that the Republicans have are actually doing to family farms. And I don't think they realize the degree to which because farmers, they just assume, are all Republicans. They don't realize the degree to which that the way Republicans, when they're in government, approach agriculture, the agricultural sector, how similar it is to the way that they approach the energy sector, the way that they approach retail and everything else. So could you talk a little bit about that, about what
listen to what he's saying, MAGA. This is very important. The profits for CEOs to own your land is the goal. The profits and to own your land.
difference is
It's not about politics. It's about money.
for family farmers when it comes to progressive versus conservative policies?
I think it's really all about just this, and this isn't just in agriculture. It's this incentivizing just the few people who are at the top, right?
The people that are at the top, incentivizing the people at the top. They're not incentivizing you. They're just giving you a welfare check so you can keep going to the next month. Oh, we didn't get the land this year. They didn't foreclose. Oh yeah, extend that out. Extend that out. Yeah. Was that 20%? Yeah, extend that out.
Instead of everybody else, the 1% versus the 99%. 85% of all farms in the United States are family-owned farms, like mine. But we're not the ones that in the end come out on top. And that's because we as a nation have continued to write farm bills with farm incentives that basically say, you know, we're going to go ahead and let companies consolidate. We're going to give farmers fewer choices. And then they said, you know what, we're only going to incentivize the production of certain crops, you know, these commodities, soybeans, corn, rice, wheat, cotton, grain, sorghum, at the expense of what I think is not even a radical idea, but the possibility that we could grow actual food.
So the actual fact that our anger has been geared towards culture wars, and those culture wars, that 0.004% is not taking that money out of your pocket. You heard about your son being gay. That sounds like a church issue. That sounds like an issue that you need to have a one-on-one to, you know, discuss with your family members and stuff. What we're talking about here is something that's completely within your control, that you are allowing someone to take your livelihood for a situation that you can control at home. You can't control them CEOs once they got your land. You can't control how much money you make once they make the rules. All the stuff you're fighting for, the hatred that I see, that's allowed these Republicans to get in power, has been misguided for what you're trying to accomplish. That book at your school ain't gonna mean a damn bit of difference on whether or not he decides to be a certain way in life. I promise you. I promise that.
And we've been doing that for decades. What drives me nuts about this is that we have been here before. In 1980, my dad went broke in 1980 and had to leave Schaffner, Arkansas, to go be a farm manager somewhere else. And he was able to come back in the late 80s and sort of claw his way back into a new operation. And you would think that we would learn, right?
You hear that? And this is what these bailouts are for, just to keep you scratching. Just keep you going, oh, made it this year. As you say, you think we would learn by now. Them bailouts ain't helping you. They're just extending out the inevitable, kicking the can down the road.
To 1980, the government was telling us farm as many acres as you can, produce as many commodities as you can, regardless of the quality of the crop, regardless of the, you know, oversupplying the market. And then they turned around and did it again. And here we are 45 years later in the exact same position. I would argue even worse.
I got a video on that about the Reagan era, and it's called Did We Learn Our Lesson? And I have another one called America Seems to Have Amnesia. You need to check out my YouTube channel. I'm just saying. That's the name of it.
Mm-hmm. You know,
it's vision is what it is. I mean, I think that we have politicians who think that we can fence time, or that we can go backwards, or that we can just continue doing what we're doing. And that is the definition of insanity, right? Like, let's do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
You're insane. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I don't want to take up too much of your time. Y'all can go to the Midas Touch and y'all can check out Jason Kander. This is Holly Schaffner. She is running for election as an official for our majority, 54. So check it out, Midas Touch. This was just from October the 4th, 2025. What I say is what I'm getting banned for. They are banning the truth. It's not about a white thing. It's not about a black thing. It's not about whether you're a Nazi, whether you're a white supremacist, whether you're black power. Ain't about none of that. Those are just the optics they use to keep us separated so they can take everything from us. I'm just saying.